Good afternoon, friends. How is everyone doing this beautiful Friday? Don't know about you, but the sunshine greatly affects my mood. So I just want to say hello. Teresa Davis here. I want to make a couple of announcements to you guys of some things that are coming up in the future. So if any of you have attended Grief Share at Northside Christian Church, the name Wade Thaxton will probably ring a bell. He was a facilitator for many, many years in Grief Share there. And he has organized an online event that I wanted to mention. Just be on the lookout. It's going to be March 14th. It's going to stream live. And there's going to be a video that he's going to release here soon, and I'll share it. I'll share it on my social media as well. But the name of it is going to be Hope in the Midst of Grief, Conversations of Hope and Healing. So stay tuned. There's going to be 3 couples involved, Wade and his wife, Ben and Crystal Woods, and Tony and I. So please remember us in prayer. We have all been praying and fasting for the Lord to give us vision of what we need to do to help others that are grieving. So I'm excited about that. Be on the lookout. I will share his announcement video when he releases it, hopefully sometime, maybe this weekend. It might be this weekend. The other information I wanted to share with you is I have asked a dear friend who has experienced grief and loss. Her name is Barbara Gallier. Her son died by overdose. So I want to interview her and bring her story to life for you guys. I think there is so many people grieving in silence. There are many people who grieve in their minds, grieve in shame because of the way their child died. And it's just not the way it should be, guys. So I want to bring hope to you guys that are grieving, maybe in that situation. I cannot wait. Barbara is full of wisdom, and I cannot wait to share her story with you guys. So for those of you maybe who are watching who don't know me, my name is Teresa Davis. I have a website where I share my story of grief, and all my blogs that I do, most of them are video, on my website. And you can find that at teresabrowndavis.com. You can also find me on social media, on Facebook and Instagram. It's just Teresa Davis, Grieving with Hope. And I also have a YouTube channel, and it's just Teresa Davis. And basically, I just load the videos there for people that don't have Facebook or Instagram, so that they can watch them as well. So those are the resources or the ways that you can connect with me. And guys, something I want to ask you to do, I want to know what's on your mind. I'd like for you to comment and message me what challenges you in grief. You know, my heart's desire is to help guide folks along in their grief journey, not because I'm an expert by any means, but because God has put that desire on my heart. And I believe without a shadow of a doubt that God uses us in ways for purposes that he gives us the desire in our heart to do. And that's what I desire to do, guys. I desire to maybe lighten your grief load a little bit, maybe help you realize all those crazy thoughts that you're having are not crazy at all. They're pretty normal. And I've shared a lot of my story with you guys, and you can find all of that on my website. And you can search it on Facebook as well. If you watch one video, they're all in a series. So when you watch one video and another one will pop up, they all have titles where I share with you on certain topics that God has given me. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about grief relief. I mentioned a book that I was reading last time called Sacred Rest. And I mentioned that I would share with you some insights that I had gained. She is an internist. The person who wrote this book is Saundra Dalton. She's an internist, and she wrote this book out of her own need for rest. It's excellent. I will include a link to her quiz where you can answer some questions to find out where you are lacking in rest. So just to give you a little quick synopsis, there's 7 areas of rest, and we may not have even have known that. So I'll just tell you what they are real quick. They're mental rest, emotional, creative, sensory, physical, spiritual, and social. So I wanted to talk to you guys today about 2 of those areas, mental rest and emotional rest. Because when I took the quiz, those are the 2 that I scored the lowest in, meaning I need the most help in, which I would venture to say many of us that are grieving would score in those areas similarly. So the first I want to talk to you about mental rest. So I want to tell you a little story. Last night I went to the funeral home where I work at Louisville Endoscopy Center. One of our coworkers, she's not a current coworker, but she's been a part of our LSC family for many years. She passed away suddenly. She was 49 years old. She was here one minute, gone the next. So I went to the funeral home last night to support her husband, as well as many of my coworkers. But I tossed and turned all night long. I knew it was going to be hard to go, but I chose to go. I wanted to support her husband. And I laid in bed last night, tossed and turned. I had many dreams, and triggered some things that, I'm still dealing with. When I woke up this morning, the term that was on my mind was grief relief. I got out of the bed this morning and the sun was shining, for which I am so thankful. When the sun shines, it greatly affects my mood. Many of you all know my story. The weekend that we lost Andrew, it rained all weekend. So rainy, gloomy days does a double whammy on me that it's hard for me to stay focused. So one of the areas I wanted to discuss with you is mental rest. So if you're like me and your mind is idle, it goes to your grief. We are 2 years out, and that still happens to me. So if you're early in your grief, I know exactly where you are, and your mind never rests. Mental rest when we are grieving is very difficult to achieve. Now, everybody is different. I'm the type of person, I seek knowledge. I'm a knowledge seeker. So I stimulate my mind probably too much, because when my mind is idle, one of the things I struggles with is images because of the way Andrew died. So when my mind is idle, that's where it goes. And I'm still working on that, guys, with my counselor. She's wonderful. Her name is Margie Oldham. We've done several different types of therapy. We've done havening. We've done EMDR, which has significantly helped me progress in my journey. However, no matter what type of therapy you have, when you've had traumatic experiences, you still have those memories. However, the therapy has helped me significantly to decrease the emotion that went with those images in the beginning. So I want to talk to you about mental rest. One of the most important things to do to help your mind rest is to stay present. Now, when I was thinking about talking about this to you guys, I went immediately to my grandchildren. Children have they live in the moment. That's just who they are. They live in the moment. And I have, many, many, many times, Sophia, Andrew's youngest, she'll say to me, now she was 21 months old when her daddy passed away. And she'll say to me, Nana, my daddy's in heaven with Jesus. And then it's over. She's on to the next thing. Jackson, his oldest, he was 3 when Andrew passed, and he'll make several comments. There's a lot of pictures here in my house of our family, including Andrew. And he'll make comments like, that's my daddy, or he might remember him and his daddy flying a kite, or he might make some kind of comment, but it's gone. It's there and it's gone. He's on to the next thing. What I've found in my life is that it's hard for me to move on to the next thing. When something drops in my mind space, it's very difficult for me to push it out. So I have learned over the course of the last 2 years, and Margie's helped me a lot with that, but I have learned techniques to help me be more present. And one of the things that she shares in the book is to place your hand. Okay, so when you are in that space and you're sitting there and your mind is starting to drift to the things that it drifts to, the author of the book, Saundra Dalton, said, place your hand on a wall or a desk, anything that's solid. When we do that, it creates what's called a grounding, and it quickly brings us back to the present. And it helps what she calls mental detachment. So I laughed when I read that term, mental detachment. I have definitely felt mentally detached for the past 2 years. It is difficult. I will tell you that in my experience, it is very difficult to stay mentally present in grief because our minds are flooded with so many things, emotions, our grief. It's just so much. So to stay present mentally is a challenge for us as adults. But I found what she mentioned to do is when my mind starts, drifting and going there, reach out and touch something. There is something, and it works. There's something tangible about touching something solid. Like she said, a piece of furniture, the wall, the desk, whatever you're around, and that will bring you back to reality and get you grounded. And I thought that was helpful. I do want to mention that there's 7, as I read to you guys before, there are 7. Did I read those to you guys? I think I did. Mental rest, emotional rest, creative, sensory, physical, spiritual, and social. And I'm only going to talk to you about 2 of those today. In the book, she has, the quiz. I will include the link to the test so that you guys can take it yourself. And then you can sign up for a 30-day challenge where every day she will send you an email that focuses on one part of, on one area of rest. So the 2 that I wanted to talk to you today is mental. So ground yourself, put your hand on the wall, on the desk, and this works anywhere you are, guys. Just touch something and have it bring you back to grounding, recenter yourself, examine your thoughts, and try to get back on track. Now, the other one I want to talk to you about is emotional rest. That was my lowest score, meaning I need to work more on my emotional rest than anything else. And one of the things she suggested in the book, I want to suggest to you. It's hard for me to explain what happens to us emotionally when we grieve, when we've lost someone we loved, especially when there's trauma involved. It's hard for me to put into words to even explain that. If you have gone through it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's your emotions are all over the place. But okay, so how do we get emotional rest? One of the ways that she suggested is to keep a notebook near your bed at night or anywhere in the house and start paying attention to what fills your tank and what drains your tank. Now, you may know yourself a lot better than I do. I'm 58 years old and I learned something about myself frequently that I didn't know. So much of my life, I come from a very hardworking family. I was taught very traditional values. You work hard and it pays off. So much of my life, I have just kept my head down and do the job. And I haven't allowed myself to experience life in ways that I should have, like being present. Another thing that I'm learning about myself is that I often don't know what fills my tank and what depletes me. I know that sounds impossible, but maybe you're like me. Maybe you're not really self aware as much as you should be. So I did the exercise. I keep a little pad of stick it notes and a pen at my bedside. And when I'm laying there at night, I don't know about you, but that's when things start happening in my head. So I'll wrote down, what did I do today that really filled my tank? What did I do today that physically, mentally, emotionally exhausted me? So I started writing down those things. Guys, it was just like, wow, this kind of light bulb went off. So I'm learning, do more of the things that fills my tank. Do less of the things that exhaust me. And sometimes there's something that happens, guys, when we think it and when we write it down. It's like putting a stake in the ground. When you write it down, it's like putting a stake in the ground that says, okay, I'm saying this out loud and I'm writing it down so it's for real. And I looked at my list, all the things that I did that filled my tank, and I listed the things that exhausted me. So I'm starting to think about those things. I'm a very loyal, duty filled individual. I make a commitment, I'm going to keep it. What I've learned is I am a lot better of keeping commitments to other people than I am to keeping commitments to myself. When I overcommit myself, as I frequently do, it exhausts me. In the moment, it doesn't feel that way. However, before it's all said and done, I'm exhausted. So, what I've learned is I need to keep those same values and commitments toward myself as I do toward other people and focus on the things that really fill my cup. So I'm really learning what those are and I'm learning what to avoid. So I challenge you to do the same. Figure out what gives you energy, figure out what exhausts you. Do less of the things that exhaust you, do more of the things that fill your tank. I hope that's helpful to you guys today in some way. Focus on those things. The weekend is here, and I'm not sure what your schedule is. I've worked many, many, many weekends in my career being in nursing. I've worked many holidays. So I don't just assume that because it's the weekend that you have a time of rest. But I want you to focus on those two things this weekend. I want you to think about being mentally present, and I want you to start thinking about what emotionally charges you and what emotionally depletes you. And then I have more to come. So I can't wait to share some of the others that she should suggest as well. So I will include that link in the comments below my video today so that if you want to go take the quiz, read a little bit about her. She has a website as well. And of course, she has a book. I listen to it on Audible. I seem to be able to absorb more content that way than sitting down and actually reading, which I do read some books, but a lot of the things I listen to are on Audible. So, guys, that's all I have for you today. I wish you a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I pray that you would spend some time with Jesus. I pray that you would spend some time in any way that fills your cup. And I look forward to talking to you next time. Bye bye, guys.